r/ProRevenge.
School expelled me for mom's anger. We sued the county and caused a reform. Not sure if this fits this sub, but felt like posting my story. I have no issue with removing it if it doesn't quite meet the standard. So I have a really bad leg, I've had 13 surgeries, long story, and had just started at a new school. After the first 3 weeks, I had to go in for another procedure on my leg. Not that big a deal to me, I've been here before. Upon my return I had documentation of my restrictions, as well as special amenities that were required. The big three were that I needed extra time to get from class to class, must have someone to escort me, and needed unrestricted access to the elevator. All of these got me recurring problems such as constant harassment by teachers and security about my being in the halls during class time, and why was my cousin out too? He was filling the role as my escort, as I have anxiety problems and we had the same classes. These first two were annoying, but easy enough to deal with. The real issue was the elevator, as I was told multiple times that for security issues I couldn't have a personal key due to it sharing the same functionality with the interior door keys. I would never have had any issues with this, as I was told there would always be someone on the same floor as my classes to open the elevator for me. This, of course, was untrue about 75% of the time. The lack of elevator access meant that I was always stuck in the halls when other students were going class to class, and was consistently late due to having to wait for someone to come by and open the door for the elevator. This also meant that I would sometimes be stuck waiting through the entire lunch period, and due to my absences couldn't afford to simply go to lunch after the fact. After about 3 weeks of this, I was tired of not getting to eat lunch. So I did one of the stupidest things I could have attempted and tried to use the stairs. For context, I was not on crutches, I was on a full-blown walker. About halfway down to the landing, I fell hard. As lunch was letting out, one of my friends found me, got someone to help pick me up, and carried me to the office. Another of my friends went to find my other cousin. The one who normally escorted me wasn't there due to being sick, so I was without escort because I couldn't bear the though of, gasp, a stranger escorting me, who when getting to the office managed to get me to calm down enough to give them my mother's number. Now, my mother is quite hot-tempered, but can keep a level head normally. When she heard I fell, she was there in record time. When she got there, she immediately asked what happened. I told her I didn't want to miss lunch again, so I tried to use the stairs. Big mistake, as that set off a Tsar bomba-sized explosive. She immediately turned around, and demanded for the principal and VP to get their asses in here ASAP. As soon as the principal and VP walked in, she started berating them in a fashion not suitable for most adults to hear, let alone kids. When the VP made an offhand remark about my condition, my mother was swarmed by local sheriffs that provided security for the school's entrances and office as she physically went after the VP. We were escorted out, and after looking at the file and realizing my cousin and I had the same address, they figured out that I didn't actually live there. Now, my grandmother's address was listed as she looked after me after I left school up until around 8 p.m. She also was raising my cousin after an issue between her and my aunt. They used this as grounds to expel me, and told her I can be some other school's problem now. I was then enrolled at the school near my house, and had to have yet another surgery to repair the damage that was done as a result of my fall, and redo the work of the previous procedure. I had gotten multiple statements from teachers as well as my doctors, and my parents were moving forward with a lawsuit naming the VP, principal, and the county school board. We were contacted by a lawyer who had won multiple cases against our school board, some of which went to the state Supreme Court, and he told us he would take our case pro bono. He was getting tired of going against the board, and though a case like this would be what it took to try and fix their shit. Fast forward 9 months, and I was walking out of court with a settlement to cover all my procedures, as well as a written confirmation that the school would be going through a complete administrative overhaul, and that the principal and VP would be let go, and have their administrative credentials revoked in our state. My new school was let know day one my medical requirements and my need for a personal elevator key by the superintendent and the head of the State Board of Education. Long story short, school majorly fucked up with handling my medical requirements, resulting in a lawsuit that cost the head administrators their jobs, as well as a full-blown county-wide investigation of disability procedures.
A response to the post.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I was hit by a drunk driver in 6th grade and my left leg was smashed all to bits. I had a lot of surgeries etc. and leg braces and crutches. The first week back at school after months being out and the school being made fully aware of all my injuries and restrictions, the gym teacher thought it would be smart to lift me up by the knees to do a pull-up. Jerk pulled out all my stitches in the knee and had me bleeding like a fountain. My father had about the same reaction as your mother when he got to the school. I'm convinced the only reason he wasn't arrested was because he was in his military uniform and then the police cut him some slack. Hope you're doing better with your leg now. Good for you and your mother and the lawyer for not letting them get away with their negligence. Edit. Clarifying, since I seem to have been confusing with what I wrote. My dad was not the gym teacher. He was an officer in the USAF who was required to wear his uniform while working, and he came straight to the school to pick me up and did not have time to change his uniform first. Thanks everyone for your interest, but let's not forget this is the op story equals /.
OP's response to this comment.
Sorry to hear about your struggles, and a hilarious coincidence. My bad leg is also my left one. Looking into a full knee replacement within the next year. Hope that gets me back to some form of normal. As far as your father, I can only imagine if I'd called my grandfather, as he is a Vietnam vet that retired out after 40 years, and currently serves as a chief of police for one of the county's smaller departments.
A response to the post.
Nice. It's time to get rid of the attitude that fully accommodating disabilities is asking for special privileges. People with disabilities are only asking for one thing, to be given access equal to everybody else. They deserve that, nothing less.
A response to this comment.
My university had an exception on elevators, because it was an old historic building, and everyone going to class needed to be medically approved to work in my field. But even then, if someone accidentally broke a leg skiing or anything that would temporarily disable them, accommodations were made. All possible classes for this person would be moved to the ground floor, and for the ones they couldn't move, there was a carrying chair and 4 fit students assigned. Smiley face. Anyway, it worked.
A response to the post.
The really stupid part of this is that all they had to do was rekey the elevator so it could be given to people who need it. If they were worried about kids making copies, they could rekey it every once in a while. For crying out loud, that's what my high school did in the 1970s, long before there were laws about needing to accommodate disabilities. Also, I know it was a typo, but I really wish I'd gone to a school with its own official county wild pig.
OP's response to this comment.
Right? But oh no, the few $100s that would have cost was too much. Instead, the settlement and loss of jobs was much more cost effective. That typo has given me a chuckle since it was first pointed out, because now I can't stop picturing a pig in a suit on the stand.